Tonight on Club Top Shot, we have PlungeFather, the man that created his own private Cool Cats Master Challenge Discord before Top Shot announced that that would be their reward for the Master Challenge. We also have a VIP Babs joining us. We're going to talk about everything going on in the Top Shot marketplace. We have no MBL tonight, but we will persevere with Jack, Peter, and Andy. It is time for Club Top Shot. Damien, you can retire. Let's call up Steve Kerr right now. Tell him you're done. 3-on-2 game.
Oh, I'm an incredible basketball player. Awful shooter. Awful shooter.
Nasty jumper.
Would he ever gamble on shooting?
Here we go.
Me.
We got John lighting up again.
On that note, let me go.
All right. Club Top Shot going up on a Tuesday.
Look at this, Pete. I do the intro and you come back with a baby. I would have introduced Gracie had I known.
She just wants to say hi to the club. You know, she's more of a veteran now. She's a little bit older. Gracie, say hi. We're waving right now. So yeah, it's good. Good life, boys. Doing everything I can. I'll be right back.
Does Gracie have any NFT takes for us?
What do you think, Gracie? We bullish or bearish right now? That's bullish.
That's a bullish look.
Yep.
There you go. And we do have Pete's new seersucker Nike golf shoes there have made their way to the shelving. Andy?
Are they men's shoes? Like they're for Pete? I couldn't tell if they were for Gracie or for Pete, and that's not like
if Gracie's feet are that big.
No, now
he's
I'm
in for a wild ride.
Now I'm seeing it. I'm like, I didn't realize. I thought they, like given the scale, sizing of the image, but yeah, now I'm okay. Interesting.
It would be very Club Top Shot to put Cool Cats and Top Shot in the show notes and then talk about these bonsai trees for an entire show. I mean, Andy, what the fuck's going on with these trees, man?
I don't know. They went live at 4 p.m. Eastern and they were sold out by 5 p.m. They were very cheap. I mean, all like comparative. I would say for an NFT collectible, they were very cheap. They were the same as like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They were 0.08 Ethereum per, and they had 8,888 of them. But I will say that Dingaling bought 1,000 of them himself.
Wow.
So the supply is a little less than people thought. And also, I think Pranksy bought like 750 or something. So right there is like already a quarter of the supply gone to 2 people.
Well, here was my strategy. I knew we would get distracted with bonsai trees by talking me bits versus bored apes, and I thought there's only one way to keep us on track, and that's with one Mr. PlungeFather, a man that sleeps, breathes, eats Top Shot, a man who starts his own hyper niche Discord within Top Shot. Plunge, how we doing?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me? I feel like my microphone isn't working well tonight.
You're good.
Hey, you sound great.
You sound great. You sound like you're broadcasting from the plunging.
Oh yeah. The only the finest. I think for anybody that's familiar, the back here used to be in the wintertime. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. That was where the trampoline lived, in true PlungeFather fashion. That's where my kids jumped around. It's now outside because it's nice out and it's pleasant. So all is well with the world for the most part.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, and Pete just put Gracie down. You said you were in the DMs. Hopefully, I'm allowed to say it. You just gave your kids a bath. I hope that I'm allowed to say that. And now you're here. That's what we're. The dads are back.
Yeah, I think there's. Pete, are you? Without getting too detailed, you have kids, correct?
I don't.
You don't?
I know a person so put together like this, you would assume he has kids. He does not.
Well, I mean, you give that vibe. You give like I'm tired. I got to go on vacation. Like I need to get away from the world. Like you have real problems that need to be solved. But apparently, not.
I give off that vibe. That's my nightmare. I mean, I'm purposely trying not to give off that vibe.
You do, but that said, I think I want to make something really clear, Jennings. I am in love. I'm smitten. I'm smitten with those Jordans behind you, the seersucker, the golf shoes. I saw that post. And I cannot describe to you how jealous I am. And they're so cool. They're so cool.
Yeah, they're sick.
When do you think they'll fit Gracie?
I know. It doesn't matter.
Sometimes are caught in these too pretty hard. I like these.
Oh, those are good, man. Those are good.
Yeah.
I'm a huge golf guy, so I fully appreciate all the golf posts and everything. But thank you so much for having me in Club Top Shot. It's nice to be here. But yeah, excited to talk Top Shot.
Yeah. So tell me, like, for people who don't know, you a few days ago set up this private Discord that you had to have completed the Cool Cats Master Challenge to unlock the full server. Today, this had to have been absolutely crazy. I went in there for a second, and the messages were spitting out like a slot machine. I mean, what has been the reaction between what you were trying to build versus what came out today? Like, it's had to have been a crazy 24 hours for you.
Yeah. And first off, I did not start this Discord. I just sort of commandeered it. I think someone else, I forget exactly who it was. I think it was a guy named Jake. And then AB and a couple other guys that hopped in and created this Cool Cats thing. And then Chugs and Bugs pulled me in. And I think at that point I got in, it was very, very small. Anyway, so the last 24 hours, to your point, it's been chaos a little bit. There's been a lot of speculation. We've been doing our best to sort of keep the streams of conversation sort of targeted towards like, hey, here's everybody, and then here's the salty people. We have a channel called Bacon. It's like just the salt and like everything. If you're pissed off, go there. And it's like the vent channel, but like it seems like the trolls are like happy there. So I don't know, like it's sort of weird. And I completely understand and I sympathize with the folks in the Top Shot Discord who are trying to manage this in like a professional way. Like, there's no way I could survive it. Like if I had to manage these people that are just like pissed off at the world and don't understand how finances work and all these different things. And like, if I had to manage them with professionalism, I would be gone immediately, but I can sort of clap back a little bit and impose my will in certain ways. But I will say the 2 hours before the Lamelo ended might have been my favorite 2 hours on Discord this year. It was just like super fun, hilarious, like back and forth. It was what I remember when I joined in January, the Top Shot Discord was like, when there were not 10 million people in it and everybody was angry. Like it was kind of whimsical, which is like a weird way of probably a weird phrase or weird word to use. Yeah. But it was just like good vibes generally. Yeah, there's salt, but like good vibes. And it was cool. After that, after they announced like, here's actually what the perks are. Yeah, not so much, but such as life.
Can we, before we continue, can we get a quick roll call on who are the Master Challenge completers here in the room? I just figured I'll go ahead and raise my hand. I see Andy. I see PlungeFather. I am kind of scanning the room. Pete, I don't see an arm. Jack is
I
your little baby.
You have a real shirt.
Oh yeah, $13.50 on Amazon. Best purchase I've made this week.
Hang on, I have a question for Chugs on that. Was that in the works before I had my graduation post, or was that shirt a tag on my joke?
Great question. Don't know the answer to it. I assumed it was independent, but I hadn't heard your graduation post. So
here's the deal. Chugs, I'm going to get one of those shirts regardless. If it was a tag on my joke, you need to send me one. If it was an independent thought, I'll buy one myself.
I think you'd take that.
What's the shirt?
So he made basically a class ring of like the Lamelo Challenge, Master Challenge, just like inscribed as a joke, which you can apparently order for $199 from whatever this company is. Awesome. So he had all these like rendering.
You can actually get the ring.
Yeah, you can.
Physical ring.
It's like $199 apparently. I've got my class rings and like I went to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's big like class
No,
ring people.
I get that.
But yeah, apparently you can just make them. You can just make them.
That's
who knew.
So Jack and Pete, do you guys kind of want to explain why you guys aren't true collectors who completed this challenge that really is kind of emblematic of all of our Top Shot journey? It spans from when we all started to now, the peaks and the valleys, and yet you guys seem to have not bothered.
I did not involve myself because if you're early enough to remember, the Luka Doncic Cool Cat got up to $10,000 at one point. So I was priced out of that. And then every time there was another Cool Cat that came along, the prices were like $800, then they were like $4. And so it got to the end. And I thought about doing it right at the end. But for whatever reason, it just felt like I genuinely didn't want to complete it at that point because it felt like a disservice to everyone who like I was never in on it. So
Well, thank you, Jack.
I would have felt like shit like getting in for what 1,800 or like 2,200 was the final, and everyone probably bought a moment one cool cat by itself for more than that. So I did not participate.
Peter, speak for yourself, because me personally, I genuinely like the cats.
That was smooth. I mean, my forecasting of the cool cats hasn't exactly gone well, so I realize that's not my lane.
Yeah.
Basically, I called everything wrong, and then
Yeah, that was like our peak time. Maybe predated Club Top Shot. Maybe the start of Club Top Shot was when Pete told other Pete to not sell his cool cat, which
I said to sell it.
To sell, which was the correct move in the long term. So credit there.
Plunge, give us the state of the union on the Cool Cats Master Challenge, the sentiment from the community, the reaction from what Top Shot added as kind of the bonus items for the collectors, because part of the Discord, like you said, was to rally people around this idea of like, we did this, let's enjoy it, let's get some positive vibes going. But did that dip because people got excited? Jacob went on your stream, teased an additional reward. Were people let down by what that ended up being?
I would say yes. I think so. It's interesting. I feel very like, I posted this in the Discord. I feel like the Lorax, like I'm out here speaking for the trees, but like not every tree agrees. And I might be the face of it, but like my opinion is relatively rosy because I didn't have super high expectations for what they were going to do. I have a very sort of like pragmatic approach and take towards the way that Dapper and NBA Top Shot are handling things. And I work in IT in a way that I understand how third-party systems and integrations affect what you're capable of doing with your product. And so when I look at some of the things that they say are perks and some of the things that they've tried to do over the last four months, I totally recognize that the business case for it, like, it doesn't matter. Like, fuck your feelings. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's only what they're able to execute. And it's super frustrating when you can't execute something technically that feels right. So, I think the sentiment broadly was like, wait, those were the perks. And just to catch anybody up, if you didn't see like what the perks were listed, was if you hold 30 of 30 cool cats, you have access to the queue for every drop for the remainder of Series 2. So by my count, that is the Legendary Holo coming up, or the MGLE first, then the Legendary Holo Icon 3, and then the I think it's called, and then there were 4, which is the Championship Series that'll be a rare drop between the 2 Championship Series, and then the Legendary Final Series. So like 4 gated drops probably, because the other playoff packs are reservation, like anybody can get them. So you get access to that queue regardless of what your collector score is. So I think that was perk number 1. And then perk number 2 was they announced this channel in the Top Shot Discord that they are going to token gate against the 30 moments that you need to hold. So that's cool in principle, but what it doesn't do, there are some things that I think they missed on, and I think it has to do with the technical challenges that they face actually putting this into action. The first is that it's all well and good that it, hey, we're going to reward people that have 30 or 30, but it doesn't reward anybody that actually completed the challenge. Like Jack, you could go buy 30 of 30 right now for half of what everybody else held on to them for. And guess what? You get the perks. Like, that's cool. Like, I get it. You can't just say, hey, everybody that wasn't here in time can't ever have the perks associated with this. But at the same time, like, they didn't really reward anybody that held on until the end. And in fact, they did, I think, some of them a disservice, but such is life. The other thing for the channel, they did mention like exclusive content with NBA players, and Roham, I think, as well. And that's kind of cool. Like, I know I've heard Jennings talk about this in the future, like the future of fandom stuff. There are tons of utility cases to be made of like, hey, I have these things and they allow me access to you or your fans or experiences or whatever. And I'm actually really bullish on that idea, but they didn't make that only for any, or like in any way substantively better if you held on through the end of the challenge. It's anybody's fair game right now. You could go buy them right now, get all 30, And because of the way that the token gating works for the drops in the queues and in the Discord, which I think are reliant on third-party system technologies to actually make that token gating happen, they can't say, hey, we took a snapshot, you completed the challenge, you're on the list, which sucks. Like, that should be the case, but I don't think that they were capable of doing that technically. That's just me speculating, but state of the state, back to your original question, not great. I'm okay because I wasn't expecting a whole lot.
What were people expecting?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, I think everybody had a little bit of a different perspective on things. I heard a lot of people that were like, "Oh, hey, new moments. Hey, maybe they're going to gift us a pack. Hey, we're going to gift moments. Hey, you're going to be guaranteed a holo pack, like, or guaranteed a spot in the queue, and you can get it. We're going to be the first to have autographed NFTs. Like they figured out that tech." I threw out the idea of like the Lamelo bath towel. I would love a bath towel embroidered. That was sort of, I would like fucking be all over that. Some merch.
That
like,
would, I would, if Top Shot just sent me a fucking Lamelo bobblehead doll in the mail, I'll be like, all is forgiven.
But
seriously, it's like stupid trinket shit like that matters. Like, give me an avatar. I don't care.
See, I think I just don't believe it. That's the thing. Maybe the guy, maybe. I don't believe that would have satisfied the majority.
Oh, no.
Right? I think that's the problem, right? So they could have done nothing because, to be honest, they don't have to do anything, right? It was people's decisions to buy at whatever price they did, right? They don't owe it to anyone, right? It's a free market. And so, they do feel bad, which I actually think is cool. Like, they are appreciative and they kind of understand the blunders that they made, but knowing that we're in beta. So like, yeah, any perk was good, but then that perk wasn't good enough. Well, if they had given a pack, then it's like, well, it's just a $9 pack that's not worth anything, right? And then if they send the trinket, then it's like, that's all they're going to do. Like, I see people in the chat, they're like, Lamborghini. And I laugh at that because like, that's literally what some people are expecting, right? To make good on the Cool Cats challenge. So I just don't know what like people were expecting.
I said this before. I don't think they could have made a non-financial reparation in a way that would have satisfied everyone. And they made it very clear that they couldn't do that. And I understand why philosophically they couldn't. Like, it sets an incredibly bad precedent. It sets and tees up their future releases into really weird situations. That said, like, there are ways to do like exclusive stuff that, like, I think where the miss is that the benefit was not to anybody who completed the challenge. It's to anybody that has all of the pieces now or into the future. Right. Yeah. Which is really frustrating. So, I do agree with you, Jack, though. Like, and I see the chat like, oh, hey, Jack's a shill, pizza shill, whatever. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't really care. I'm having fun. I enjoy my time in Top Shot. And if you're not, and nothing would have satisfied you, and like, you can think honestly back, like, hey, this thing would have satisfied me, great, stick around. If you're not, like, go find something else that brings you joy. Like, do other things. Like, go hiking, go fishing, go golf. Like, do something that brings you joy. It's just never going to happen. And it's like, it's really easy to play armchair quarterback when you can see behind the scenes on a lot of this stuff. And it's like, it's tiring to sort of have a positive spin or a positive vibe or a positive outlook with it, which I think generally like everybody in here does. But at the same time, like, yeah, they missed the mark on some things. And I'm hopeful that their learnings from this process are going to inform how they approach things moving forward. Like, they very clearly use the Cool Cats Master Challenge as a way to participate or to like test out various challenge concepts. And like, some worked and some didn't, right? Like, some of us hated the showcase challenge. Like, some of us.
I didn't even do it.
Yeah,
I know. I just bought the moment afterwards.
And the only reason I did it was because I was thinking to myself, hey, like, I should organically complete all 7 of these just in case it matters. Like, that was my thought process. And now knowing what I do, I know, like, I probably wouldn't have done anything on those. I would have waited and bought, but like, hindsight's 2020. It was fun in the moment, in the time. It was not fun buying a $200 or what, like having people buy $200 Bartons. But anyway, long story short, they learned a lot from some of those challenges. So as much as it sucks to be like, hey, we were part of the beta, like, we kind of were.
Yeah.
And to your point, Jack, earlier about like, the Luka getting up to 10K, like, Greg Murray ran the numbers. Like when there were 2,000 completions, the median price to complete all 29 of 29 cool cats was somewhere in like the $2,800 range. Yes, there were people that got slammed and burned over 10K because they made like incredibly bad timing choices, which, I totally get it. Like that was the only thing that was available at that time. That was the focus of Top Shot when, February 21st through 23rd hit. That was the only thing that was happening at that point. But at the same time, like there was like 100 people that got burned for a really big number. And that's unfortunately, it's a really small portion of their user base. It's a really small portion of their future revenues. And like, they're not going to make everyone happy. And there's very little they could do to make any of those 100 people or 1,000 people really happy. So, they're doing their best, at least from my perspective. You can disagree with that, but that's genuinely how I feel about it. And, I'm just going to keep riding it out, and hopefully good vibes will come.
And most of the people underwater on the Luca Cool Cat is just Osimo, and it's also a very small part of his overall net worth. So Osimo will be fine. I do want to hear from Andy. We haven't heard from Andy. You did complete this, Andy, and you've been on Top Shot for much longer than any of us. It seems like you completed this challenge clearly because you liked the cats. Talk to us about your thought process, because you had already gotten the challenge fixed. For us, this was like our first challenge. I was excited to participate in it, but you were already a vet by that point.
Yeah, well, so there was one master challenge in series 1, which was what is it, like Got Game or something, one of those. I don't even remember.
It was
and
Got Game.
Yeah, and I didn't do that one, mostly just out of laziness, because they were like, I don't know, I just couldn't be bothered at that time. I was busy doing other stuff. But so part of it was like, oh, I want to do a master challenge. I hadn't done one previously. And then at the same time, I was just like, all right, I did one of these. I might as well just keep going. Let's see. Maybe I'll get Lamelo number 1. And I also, like, a part of me felt a little salty that I had sold a Lamelo ball base moment for like $30. And so I was like, I gotta get one of those back. But yeah, I don't know. I'll echo what Plunge was saying around the disappointment that the reward wasn't purely based on completing the challenge. As someone who did not complete all the challenges because I did not do the showcase challenge, I think it's a real bummer that they didn't do that. And mainly because I think, there's a sentiment that a lot of collecting, not even just in Top Shot, is like a whales game where, to get into these things is purely just how much money do you have? Can you afford to do these particular things? And when you have something like a retroactive reward that is announced right before it happens, where doesn't matter how much money you have. If it had only been for people who had been here for the last 3 months and done the challenges, it would feel significantly more rewarding, and not like it's, oh, now just everyone who has $5,000 on the app can come in and buy this and have the same reward that I have. And I think that one of the biggest challenges for Top Shot going forward is continuing to find little things they can do for people where it doesn't just matter how much money do you have. And this would have been a really, really good example of that. But hopefully they said they learned from this.
But doesn't no one care about the perk, right? So why does it matter? Like, that's the thing. Like, you can't complain about. You do.
I do.
Because I saw the numbers, right? And so like 98% of people who did it already probably qualify for the package.
Well, it depends exceptionally much, or it depends a lot on what they decide.
That's what I'm asking. So you care about the perk, but the majority of people, they do or did not care about the perk.
So let's say,
like, is the sentiment only, I wish it was for the only people that had done it, or is it just like that perk sucked in general? But I still am angry that others got it.
I think what this allows, like, stuff like that allows for in the longer term, having the hollow, like, entrance to the hollow drop, not just based on how many moments are in your collection, but instead different things like, did you complete the Cool Cats challenge? So then you have an avenue for people who don't have enough money to collect all these things or haven't spent enough money immediately, but they've been saving up their $1,000 hoping that they can buy the hollow pack, and that's all that they can afford. And this could have been a really nice way to kind of help with that. For me, I don't think the perk really matters very much. I, fortunately know Roham. Getting to talk to him in Discord isn't like...
What a casual flex by Andy there.
Big.
Well, no, but like...
Man of the people.
Man, I'm outside his window, throwing the little pebbles with the boombox, trying to get his attention, and Andy's out here getting brunch with him.
And I look at that, so like two different things, right? So first, and maybe we just talk about the pack, like the pack Q stuff, right? I think my collector score right now is just over 4,000. So like I have, a little less than a $10,000 like valuation, roughly speaking, probably going down precipitously as we speak because of all the cool cat shit that's falling apart. But like there and Live Token posted the numbers, but like something like over if you're looking at over 4,000, it's something like 40% of people, or like 40% of people that completed the Master Challenge would have qualified anyway. So like the perk there is only for let's say half or whatever it is. That's 40%. Let's say it's 4,000 plus. So let's say that they make the legendary hollow icon drop, and let's say the finals legendary pack for like I think that's the cooler one, to be honest. Like the finals legendary, like if they gated that at 40 or at 4K, that means that nobody that bought or that finished the Master Challenge, like only 40% of them would have been automatically qualified without having done the challenge. So 60% of people get in without having to spend more money to get up to that threshold. The amount of money that you need to spend is relative, right? Like there's different ways to accomplish that. But like if you're saying that this is a perk, and let's say that they do take the $2,000 number, it's only a perk to 20% of the people that finished organically. And again, that number and that denominator of people is changed already because there are tons of people that can buy into this at a whatever threshold, and it's not particularly relevant to the people that finished. But that said, if they make it 4,000 or 5,000, yeah, it could be for like, maybe 60 or 70% of the people. But like, why isn't it a perk for everybody? And that's sort of the sentiment across the board that we were seeing is like, I think everybody was like, hey, every single person would have been, and that's just not true. That's the echo chamber. But the perk that Andy's mentioning about like the gated access to this Discord channel, if they actually do cool like NBA player content stuff, like they did on like Jacob had Kat and Josh Rose. Josh Hart. Josh Rose is a buddy of mine. I don't know why I was thinking Josh.
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rose. If he wants to come in and do an AMA,
that's the kind of thing that like, hey, if there's 1,000 people and you're one of 1,000 people Karl Anthony Towns, they're going to get him in there. And if you have a Karl Anthony Towns moment, your cool cat moment, he'll sign it. Like, and we can digitally sign it. Like that would be dope. Like, and those are the things that right now, what they have said is exclusive content with NBA players in Rohan. Like we have no idea what that actually looks like on paper. Like it could be really boo-boo, but it might be really awesome too, because like there's all sorts of ways that you can make those things happen. So I'm hopeful that they take that and run with it and make that really, really cool. But it would be way cooler if it was only applicable to the people that actually finished the challenge instead of bought in after. At least that's the way that I feel.
Does the fact that we're so hung up on like the cool cats perks kind of go to the sentiment of like who's crying poor the most, right? Like the cool cats people got screwed a lot, right? Because they started from day one and then it went up and a lot of people got burned. But then, we see one of our guys posting, they paid 150K and their account's now down to 40K, right? So like who, at what point does it stop? At what point do we reward people? At what point is it just like it's a fair market? Like, and is that it feels like it leads to the Top Shot community. Like you find your little niche of like, this is what I got treated unfairly on. I want to bitch about this. We should be rewarded for this.
It's a slippery slope, right? Like with everything. And I think in particular, this one was felt massively and right? Like, and I don't think that there's going to be another situation that's similar to this, or like they can actively prevent it by doing a handful of different things when something like this happens. And I think what the problem, the problem was like literally this was the only thing that you could do on the site in February.
You see it in the chat. I fell victim to it. I got smashed by Seeing Stars, right? Like you bought all the Seeing Stars because the LeBron and KD were the rewards, and then a week later they had All-Star moments, and your stuff was kind of shitty. So look, it's always going to go down to the next person. I'm sorry. Andy's account has dropped $4 million. That's more than I'll probably make in my life, right?
It has unrealized gains.
Right.
Unrealized gains.
Exactly. So like, and no one's going to feel bad for him because the next guy lost 100K and he didn't have as much, right? And someone's always getting screwed in a fair market. And I think what is dangerous, at least what I'm seeing in the chat, is like they reward the crying, right? Like with the Dapper Stimmy, with the Cool Cat, they added the perk after the math, and then it's like still wasn't good enough. And it just, I'm not sure if it's setting a precedent, because then it's like, well, why didn't I get a stimulus? And why didn't, I don't know if these are positive things.
I would agree with you, but Pete, go ahead.
I was just I want to make sure our mayor down here, Peter Jennings, gets a word in. Let's get a bird's eye view, Pete, because I know you haven't been in the streets on the rising stars and the cool cats, but partly to your credit, like one thing we said all along at the beginning was invest in these Series 1 base moments, invest in the rare stuff if you can. That's what's going to hold its value long term. However, these challenges are at the more accessible price points. It's what everyone is talking about. And now it's led to this thing. Those weren't the best investment theses, but they were very fun at the time. So where are you at on how this is all unfolded, Pete?
Well, I think the first thing is, I think in general, people are entitled and feel like they're owed. And that's just not the way to go about life. Like, if you're going to play the victim and have that mentality in any risk reward market, like, you're going to lose. So take ownership of what you're buying, take ownership in terms of what you're in this for. If it's for money and quick flipping, like, your time was during the mania. Now we're, in this trough right now where, you should be looking to do things that you find enjoyable, which I think is the main use case for Top Shot, which is so exciting. Like, they brought a ton of people to crypto and NFTs, and it's supposed to be fun. So that's number one. I think, it's an interesting time. I do view Series 1 and those moments still as like what you want to hold on to for the long term. I think we're getting to a sneaky good time to buy. I throw this around to you guys. I think it was consensus amongst most people that the playoffs, we would see a rise in prices. So a lot of people held on to their moments thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to sell my moments during the playoffs and get out some of my cost basis or deleverage from Top Shot. Everyone had that view, and then prices obviously didn't go up. Now I think people are thinking, the offseason is going to be a horrible bear market. So I don't know where you thread the needle there if you're a long-term bull on Top Shot, but I do think the contrarian play is maybe thinking about maybe the end of the playoffs, or I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but it's kind of gone against consensus, which makes sense, in the open market. Like, if the herd is thinking one way, then you want to be on the other side. And it seems like we're going to have another herd mentality this offseason.
I've always said this transparently, terrible at timing markets. I put in a calendar reminder for August 15th to buy Top Shot moments. That's when I think it'll be right at the thick of football. It kind of mirrors what cards do. A lot of people are saying they could do a lot of run it back stuff. They could do a lot of this, but like, to me, if it's not going to be settled and out of beta, before, like, it feels like it would come out of beta then. Football just smashes this sport, especially in, no one even cares about NBA during the regular season for the mass. So I can't see it coming during the off season. Maybe some Shaq and AI run it backs pump it, but that's just my personal opinion. But that is my date is August 15th.
I think the other thing too, that with a lot of this stuff, like at the end of the, I do think it's important to have the challenges, the things that incentivize us to get on the platform regularly. But at the end of the day, these are still collectibles, right? Like, if I got a seat from Old Mile High Stadium, do I need to go run down in my basement and sit on the chair every single day and be like, why am I not getting bids on eBay for my Mile High Stadium chair? It's like, it's okay if things are on the shelf and we're not interacting with it. The watch pot doesn't boil every single goddamn day. And right now, every single person in Top Shot has their giant microscope over their evaluate market account. It's like, can we just relax?
We can.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I love to toss around. There's a lot of reporting today, and I've kind of noticed it too. Collectibles in general, look at the physical card market. It's come down. And Jack, you tweeted the same, you had a comparison on a Trae Young card, and
Pokemon's down, crypto's down, all of my tech stocks are down.
Yeah,
I can't find anything up. I can't even get up anymore.
Weed stocks, now that Amazon is hinting.
I'm tired. I'm
distribution.
tired.
I was going to say, yeah. Putting out.
Someone needs to clip that.
Risk on is certainly traded down, and we're seeing, a lot of reopening trades play out. And I just saw the savings rate for the average person went way down this month. So people are getting out and spending money.
Lumber's fucking down. I mean,
lumber, dude, yeah. What the hell? My studio's still not finished. These freaking contractors are dead. Yeah, it's just one of those times where you have to be, and it's never going to be straight up and to the right. Like Andy, we've talked a lot about this. All of us have talked about it. It's like these are the times where you have to have some perseverance. It's not easy to hold assets for a really long time. Like, people were saying, during the Coinbase IPO and Bitcoin is over 60,000, like all these people are so lucky. They have all this Bitcoin. Like if you had a lot of Bitcoin throughout all the ups and downs and were able to hold on to the majority of it up until that, big run up over 60,000, like kudos to you. You've had some strong intestinal fortitude to hold on during a lot of these swings. And that's just the nature, especially of these highly speculative assets.
And there is the other thing too. I mean, we make fun of the people on Twitter who are constantly saying they're buying the dip, buy the Bitcoin dip, buy the Top Shot dip. And it's like, how much money do you have on the sidelines to buy every one of these dips?
They're so liquid. It's crazy.
Well, that is the thing. We've talked about that too. It's like there have been so many NFT projects, so much going on. We could talk about the apes tonight. There's Andy's out here buying bonsai trees, all this stuff. It's like people don't have a bunch of money to then just come back into the Top Shot market. Like I feel that way too. Like I already spent way more money on NFTs than I ever thought I would. And yes, do I wish I would have waited to come back in here? But like, I still feel like I've packed my bags and I can't go to my wife and be like, yeah, I'm dropping another 7,500, but it's the LeBron kid, tribute dunk, honey. Trust me, it's going to work out.
People always overstate how much liquidity they have. And Twitter is just a classic, look how smart I am when there's no receipts. So yeah, obviously you want to keep some liquidity. And I think actually the big sin that the majority of people made, and I heard even more stories over the last couple of days of just people completely busting themselves during this bull run. Like I get it's a big drop off from the highs, but Bitcoin and Ethereum are still way up this year. And people are so leveraged that they busted themselves. And greed is a powerful thing. Not quite as powerful as fear, which we're seeing play out a little bit now, but greed is
What's the Warren Buffett quote that Bales loves to quote all the time?
Yeah, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And
there we go.
Certainly seems like there's a lot of fear.
Unless it's not smart to be greedy, in which case be fearful of the greedy people. I guess I don't know what the lesson there is.
There's
but you have to keep that perspective. I mean,
yeah,
I totally agree perfectly. I was not trying to say that I did it right, but
I feel like you might have just had the courage to do something that I don't think I have the courage to do. Did you give the thumbs down to the apes?
Bake. But I won't call it BAYC.
This is great because I didn't want to have to.
Well, you want me to do it?
I didn't want to have to say why.
No. Can we stay on Top Shot? I feel like we have so much. I mean, we'll get there. Don't get it twisted. But
let's stay on Top Shot for a bit.
Okay,
we can get back to
it. I got plenty of thoughts and
I think we'll talk a ton about that. But I don't want to. I just want to drop a niche comment on that. Jennings Studio is the only thing that outlasted the Lamelo Cool Cats challenge. So there you go. It's niche content, but he's done it. So congrats to him. Go ahead, Jennings.
The sauna was supposed to get done like months after the video.
Too much lumber in the sauna.
Man of the people.
Although the sauna might be better than the studio.
Pete wins everyone back with like relatable comments and then mentions that his sauna is supposed to be done.
No, the sauna got done. The sauna was supposed to be done months after. Sauna's done. These guys are dead to me. I mean, the sauna. Anyways, one other thing to throw out there. We can go back to Top Shot too, but did you guys, any of you guys see these ETH links at all?
I just tried to. No, they want to talk
back to Top Shot. Back to Top.
I saw him. Hated him. When Pranksy buys 900 or something and is like, hey, the art kind of sucks, but question mark, like, okay, let's maybe pump the brakes. Let's let him or her, I don't even know if Pranksy's a man or woman. let him or her hold the bags just once.
Yeah.
Just let him.
Where's
hold it.
Dingling? I miss
The one
Dingling.
reason I even brought it up though is because it's on the Matic chain, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah, you're big Polygon Matic dude, right?
Thank you. I'm not trying to tout it necessarily.
You're lying.
Chill. Jennings is a shill.
Okay,
Jetty
hey,
just
let me
got
just-
his
let me bring up one
hourly
interesting
wine
thing.
delivery. I'm glad that worked out, Pete.
Yeah, we got the wine delivery. What I did think was interesting is they tied a token and incentivized holding the NFTs long term. I think that's really interesting. And something that could be, and staking them is another thing. I'd love to see like CryptoPunks, for example, be used as collateral and borrow against CryptoPunks. But
I
let's
think
story
it's
back
gonna
to
happen.
Top Shot.
So I'm getting
it's
a
gonna
lot
happen
of
sooner rather than later.
shit in the chat because I actually think it's niche, but people
Yeah.
say niche. What do you guys say? Everyone
It's
says
niche.
niche, right? I agree. That's it. And then it just came out of my mouth. I think I got nervous and I just started saying niche.
I think
Yeah.
it's
But
both,
it's niche.
right? People can do both.
Jack,
I-
I say
Jack,
both.
It's
Niche
like
is-
GIF or GIF. It's
niches
like GIF.
get stitches, Jack. So just be
Niches-
careful. All
All
right.
right, so
Jack, I'm with you. I say both.
Okay. I only say niche. I don't know what happened. Anyways, I did want to bring up, I wrote it in our chat this morning that I wanted to talk about it, which is, the market is doing what the market is doing. A lot of people are upset. A lot of really smart people think we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to make retributions here. We need to offer perks here. This is how to revive it. This is what we should do. Stimulate, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. And then I hear people saying they're not listening to us, right? But then if you go back and look at a lot of the moves they made, things that were discussed on this stream, on Twitter, in Discord, in private chats, I feel like they did listen. And it kind of brought us to exactly where we are, whether or not they were going to make those moves without the advice of the community. But if you remember, Pete constantly, he said the line, you cannot have your cake and eat it too, right? But then it was a bad user experience, right? To come in and the first moment you could buy was Ishmith for $112. And, but everyone's making money and that was a fun user experience. And then you couldn't get packs and now everyone can get packs, but they're worthless. And now, so it's like, I just want to bring this up. I'm curious what the chat thinks. I'm curious what you guys think. Did they make the wrong moves? Was this a lot of the community's ideas? Who takes the blame for this? Or is it simply just a cycle in a beta?
So I think there's a couple things. One, I think that having cheap moments and accessible packs is still good, regardless of what the current marketplace values of all moments are. I think that a lot of people were, just kind of just buying anything they could, basically at any given point, and weren't really evaluating what the price implications were that they were buying at and what that meant kind of as far as the valuation of the Top Shot market. So I think it based on the floor valuations got up to $1.4 billion, or it got up really, really high, really, really fast. And I think part of that is that Top Shot could have done a better job explaining, what it means when you're buying these moments at these particular prices and kind of the implications of that. But at the same time, we have to remember too that especially with some of the higher end stuff, it only takes one person to completely change what people's perspectives are for the value of a particular moment. Someone comes in and buys 4 moments for between $6,000 and $10,000, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my moment's worth $10,000. It's not. It never was.
Oh, wait,
I at no point.
You're not a smash the floor acolyte.
I used to do that when all the floor moments were $1. That was when it was more fun.
Smash the floor.
But so I think that's a big part of it. It was this misunderstanding of what does making more accessible packs and moments actually mean for Top Shot. I don't think that there's necessarily an insanely strong correlation between there being $3 base moments and a LeBron James Cosmic being listed for $245,000 and not selling out. I think those are two completely different things that are going on in the marketplace that just happen to be happening at the same time, but are not super related.
Yeah.
Plunge?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it a couple times, that's what was available. And the supply and demand problem that you run into and was like acutely felt when we had the run up when we did. And you know what's really fun? Making money.
Right.
And it's really easy to have massive network effects when everyone's having fun and making money. And it's really difficult to have massive network effects, which increase the value of the underlying IP and user experience when people aren't making money. And the supply and demand problem exacerbates that. And I've heard, and I think I probably picked up a lot of this from Jennings, like listening to you talk about stuff like this, that
You
like,
articulated
that,
it way better. That was
no, it's not something I ever thought about because I don't play in this stuff, and I'm like not other than Top Shot, I wasn't around financial markets in general. But that's sort of the effect that I'm experiencing, and like that's kind of where we all fell in. And I heard someone talk about this before, and I saw it in the chat too. The Bales article, like, good for Top Shot long term. Bad for Top Shot long term. Like it accelerated a very like already accelerating growth curve. You know, they were experiencing positive engagement and positive market values and all these things from December, which I wasn't in for, but it accelerated that process when there was no volume, like there was no supply. And then they ran into massive supply issues, even just getting packs into people's hands. And those 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it was, you know, that broke Top Shot in a lot of ways, and it set them down and off course from whatever their path was into like fight the fires mode. And that creates like a less than positive user experience because it's not designed for 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 people trying to do these things. It was designed for 10,000 people doing those things at the time. And so they're trying to scale massively without the bodies to support it, without the tech to support it, which I think is an underappreciated element of this. And Andy, as a developer, as someone who works in like not just blockchain development, but just like product development in general, like everybody, it is super easy for us to be like, why can't you just make it work? Well, it's a lot harder than that to put a product into production. Like it's so hard to make that stuff work. And every little misstep makes that like the fun of like making money. And like, it's so much less fun when you're not. So I don't know. I think it's a challenge. I think, you know, to your point about August 15th, there's going to be more fun coming. And that's why I'm bullish on it generally, but it's super not fun to lose money. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing I've seen too from when, you know, when I used to work at a software company, like being being reactive rather than proactive with your roadmap is like a huge difference. That idea of just putting out fires, tossing, like you can tell their intentions have been really good with what they want to do to kind of appease the community, but then the execution of it lacks. And it is interesting to do that hypothetical of if they could have just done their roadmap, their scaling on their own terms, what would that have looked like? And I do agree. I mean, the Bales article brought in all of the DFS bros, and we are a notoriously finicky group.
Can I make a couple things? I pretty much agree with everything there. And I think you can make a lot of arguments that, yeah, they didn't have the infrastructure in place for the Bales article. There are so many things that ultimately were a bad user experience. My main counter, was it good for Top Shot or was it not good for Top Shot? What do we think the enterprise value of Top Shot or Dapper Labs
I was gonna say the exact same thing, Peter.
And now $7.5 billion. I think they would take the article.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. The frame that I keep hearing, and back to Jack's point, and sort of the like rewarding the whining, like, and I agree with this in principle. The valuation that they achieved and the funding that they secured was on the backs of people that had and are having a shitty user experience.
Yep.
And that's like, it does not feel good to contribute and help grow exponentially a company that is then utilizing that to kind of scale, right? And hopefully they're using that to build infrastructure and like build the product so that the people that are already here can enjoy it. But one of the things that frustrates me to no end, and I understand why from a business case sense it matters, is that like the focus on new user onboarding and new user experience is so prevalent and forward for them that like they're going to lose a lot of people that created the network's effects initially. And that may be okay because they're willing to sacrifice that lamb because they're expecting that the next lambs that are coming in will generate similar or at least sustainable network effects. But holy cow, if you slaughter the wrong lamb or the wrong group of lambs with this, the network effects can be absolutely deleterious. And I'm super worried about that concept. So I'm hopeful that they at least give, if not equal time, like a considerable amount of their time to not reparations necessarily, but like making sure that the people that are already here and super invested and have spent a lot of time on the platform and the product already are enjoying themselves in whatever way. And I am, but like it has, I think it matters.
But it's the same situation we're going to keep falling into, right? Which is everyone on the platform wants more people so that their moments are worth more. Like
one thing I think I've seen that has contributed to it, and I'll just, this isn't like subtweets, but I've seen this from lots of people where the Top Shot touts say to people, we're still so early. They say that to them, and this puts this false sense in of like, I'm investing in Apple stock, 20 years ago, right? Everyone thinks I can just buy whatever because I'm so early and I'm going to make all this money. When the caveat is you're early if you are buying the right stuff. And I think people have this assumption because of this rhetoric, which I do think we need to quit. Like, we can't keep trying to bring everyone in because you're so early, because that is a Ponzi, if that's what we're talking about in that regard. And I think, like Peter's been saying too, we now need to be accountable for the kind of investments we are making. If we want to push our chips down and say we're early, you better be putting it in the right spot.
Yeah, we were early in terms of where the platform's going, the infrastructure, the technology. We were not early on prices in February. Like, we saw crazy run-ups, and I think PlungeFather made so many good points. I mean, that's crypto in a nutshell, is network effect, and of course, network effects are gonna, grow exponentially when everything's going up and up and up. That's the nature of it, and of course, people are gonna get burned and go out when things are going down. So that's one of the blessings and the curses of these underlying assets that are driven by network effect. I mean, that is what the main value of all these crypto projects is network effect. So understand it's gasoline on the fire, and it works both ways.
And I was just going to say, I want to give major credit to a lot of the content creators around the space. I mean, we are only doing the show once a week, so not including us, but like Plunge and, a bunch of the girls, the Pseudo Sister, like the first, they crush it and they are all in. I have so much respect for people, who even through the thick and thin, right, they've continued to kind of churn that out. So I think that's awesome and speaks to Pete's network effect, which is like, with a project like this, with the way the market has corrected, you could have easily seen a ton of people flay, but they're still here. And I think that's a little telling of at least, a really strong community. I would say we'll stay on Top Shot, but if the Bored Ape community, if that shit crashed back to the floor, the OG floor, I don't know, right? The Meebits community disappeared in the snap of a finger. So
was there ever a Meebits community?
No, it's the punks community.
Right.
It's a circle.
Yeah, so I'll give credit to a lot of the content creators, seriously, because it's a lot of effort and, to stay that locked in when you can put it on the back burner. And we talked about collectibles being down because, people are like living a little bit of their lives again.
So what do you guys think? This is a slight change in subject, but still in the same vein.
Not the plan, Sandy.
What do
you guys think of the VIG?
Sandy? What?
What do you guys think of the 5% marketplace VIG? The more I think about it, the less I like it. And basically, so I've been thinking about this a good amount. And so basically, like as the site was like stable and then running up, you had a very large amount of the transactions OTC, not on the marketplace, and people weren't really buying packs. There was not nearly as much money going to packs. They weren't making as much from packs, and I wonder if as the demand has increased and like basically the amount of money that they have extracted from the marketplace through selling packs, and then also like as of right now, like $30 million in marketplace fees that have happened so far, like. To me, the $30 million in marketplace fees, they could probably drop that significantly, considering that they have quadrupled the price of every single pack on the site.
Agreed.
Yeah. I agree with that in general, and I think it matters a lot more for high price stuff than it does for low price stuff. Like,
Yep.
I know it's the same percentage, and in theory, it should apply equally across the board. But, and I know that Roham would counter and say, yada yada, however, 90-something% of all transactions are under $50. But I think that significantly changes the dynamic for the larger purchases, and it encourages and in fact like incentivizes off the counter or like over the counter stuff.
I also think it
I
has
agree.
it has two factors. One, when your returns were 20x, then 5% felt like nothing. But now if people are going to play it, right, where a 12% gain is a lot, but you cut it down to 7, maybe it's not. And then you got a withdrawal fee and you got all that different stuff. So I'm with you on that. And then I think they ran a lot with it's only 5% because a lot of us came from cards or even an ETH gas fee, right? To transfer one token would have costed, $30 for a $4 transaction, and they built and there was the safety of it and all. But now that it's kind of settled and they are making all that money off packs, I'm with you. I think, is there a number in your head that makes more sense? Because I think the number is honestly, someone's just gonna, the second they do unlock these things as true NFTs, you'll just go, there'll be a middleman and you'll trade on that for 2.5% or 1%, right?
Yeah. Well, so to me, kind of.
Quick,
What,
the fees always slide based on the amount. Like in any risk reward game, whether it be gambling, trading stocks, the more money you have, the larger the transaction, fees go down on a percentage basis.
Yeah.
Pete, I wanted to ask you because a big part of both poker ecosystems, DFS ecosystems have been concepts of rake back, catering to whales, making it as frictionless and easy as possible to use. I mean, we see it at casinos. What's the biggest casino? You want to come and spend lots of money? We're going to give you a penthouse suite. Like, do you think they need to be doing more so whales feel better about moving money about the platform a bunch?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I was going to bring this up, and then I want to get Andy's perspective and interject. I just thought it was a relevant point with just how fees generally slide and scale based on increasing volume. But yeah, they absolutely need to do more, and not necessarily towards the whales. This is where I think it's really interesting. Is like, what is the future utility, and what can they do with the NBA and all the partnerships that they have that creates an immense amount of value? I don't think they should be monetizing through like the fees necessarily. I think that should be part of their revenue. I think there's so many things they can do to encourage people to buy a league pass, to go to games. Like there's limitless opportunity in terms of just like this whole ecosystem. And I think that's where the focus should be. And it's early. It's still like, and I'm not saying it's really, but it is early in terms of like what they're going to do. Like they weren't ready for that big spike. They're putting out fires. Now they have all this capital. They have all these strategic investors. Now they have a big team. Let's see what happens. And I think that's really how this ecosystem thrives long-term, is tying in a lot of the experiences with sports leagues. And that's where a lot of value can be created. And I think, to your point, your direct question, Pete, like they should absolutely, like if you're a big spender on one of these platforms, whether it's Top Shot or whatever the NFL version ends up being, or any of these, like those people should be getting like courtside tickets. They should be getting sick jerseys. They should be doing a ton of things, like interactions directly with the players. Like those are things that are win-win-wins across the board for Dapper Labs, the collectors.
Not to cut you off, just one quick thing, because I know we meant to mention this. Pete, Underdog, we have a minute for the group ride. If you want to just mention that, then we can get back to Jennings.
Wow, you're out influencing me. That's right. We do have a special here. I'll get it up on the screen here. If you guys want to get this in before this Lakers game starts, we are going with an over special, the LeBron over here. They even took it off the board for a second earlier, which means we're getting it in good. And Devin Booker, I checked these against our friends ETR's projections. Both of these were off in our favor. So if you guys want to sweat with us on a nice 3x, we are parlaying the LeBron James and Devin Booker here.
Anyways, back to Jennings. I guess my one question, and then finish what you were saying, Jennings, is are we actually early? Like, does that stuff come, or should we be kind of alerting people about the potential risk? You see it today with Gary V and Ruben, right? Like, or does the NBA use someone else for that type of current, NBA currency, right? So we all want that stuff to come, and totally agree with you. But is that a guarantee from Dapper? Is that a hopeful? Is that in 2 years? Is that in 6 months? Are they not ready? What do you think about that?
You're
on
muted,
mute.
Pete.
Peter, you're muted.
That was
That's
actually
a
the
bingo.
third.
On my
That
bingo
was the
card.
third. That was
Nailed
the
it.
third part of the underdog parlay.
Nailed
Was,
it.
That's
Got my bingo card.
minus
I only have
900.
one space left.
I want to make sure we get back to Andy too, because I rudely interjected when he was speaking as well. But I do think my overall theory with all these markets, crypto, collectibles, alternative assets, all these things, is you kind of follow the money. And I do think we'll see competitors, and I think we'll see a lot of different interesting things pop up. And if you're deep in the space, you should be paying attention and understanding, some of the up and comers and trying to understand. The biggest argument for me for Dapper Labs is their strategic investor base and how much money they've raised and the partnerships they already have. So I think we're early in terms of Dapper Labs trajectory still. Obviously, there's risk along the way, and I'm not trying to say go out and buy everything. I'm not advocating for that at all. But I do think in terms of just what this evolves into, we're in the early innings. Andy, I was cutting you off earlier. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no. So I this may sound like a little extreme, but in my opinion, basically, Top Shot they had massive growth, and they were able to show that with a 5% rake, they were able to generate this much revenue with these many users and stuff, and they raised an absolute shit ton of money on it. In my opinion, having fees that are cutting out your user base this early on in kind of the world they're building in is actually a mistake. It's really interesting. So Uniswap, they have a protocol fee that they can turn on for 1/6 of all trading fees that goes to Uniswap token holders, and most of the big advocates for Uniswap advocate against turning it on because it would be taking money out of growing their ecosystem, and it instead would be going to token holders that are going to be holding tokens either way. And so I think there's a really good case to completely shut off the fee for a long time and say we just raised a shit ton of money on a $7.5 billion valuation based on what can happen with the fees. We can still make money from packs. We're still going to just do all this other stuff. But then you have a lot more money staying in the marketplace and in the ecosystem that is going to help grow volume and user base and all this stuff.
I want to piggyback on that. We saw this with DraftKings and FanDuel. They raised money and artificially inflated the ecosystem by basically growing it through overlay. And I guess if you're going to make a really big bull case, and I think Roham in particular.
Can I be dumb and ask what overlay means?
So they would guarantee a $100,000 tournament, and they know that they're only going to get $50,000-$60,000 of entry fees. So the field puts in $60,000 and they receive $100,000 back. And because that keeps happening over and over again, people have more money in their wallets and they can grow the prize pools.
And also just to do another current analog, I mean, Andy, that's what Aave's doing with these rewards, right? They are giving overlay and giving out rewards to incentivize people to come use the platform.
Yeah, and it's basically understanding that you don't have total market dominance yet, and you can't be extracting from your users. You have to instead be incentivizing them in every way possible to stay, because especially in the crypto space right now, there's a million different things that can pull at your attention at any given moment. And extracting from your users as opposed to trying to reward them in any way possible is not a great idea.
Would that $16 back?
Would something still taking 5%, so people are still aware if they ever had to turn it back on, but that sticking as Dapper balance work, or should it just be turned off completely? Or is this just another example of where it's too many mouths with different ideas and they should just shut it off?
I think Roham's very aware of how important an ecosystem is. That's something he's talked a ton about publicly. And I imagine that's something that's top of mind for their team. So I guess that's a bull signal to me. But no one's perfect. And I think there's been a lot of learning lessons for any company that's going to see this huge amount of growth and these amount of challenges. And so I think, given a do-over, they would do a lot of things differently. But
I do want to point out Tim's comment, and I think this goes to a lot of the stuff where we always bring shit up, which is we also aren't on that side of the fence, right? And we're guessing on a lot of stuff. There's a very fair point. If the NBA was promised, right, the Players Association were promised, yes, they could do the math and take a percentage of packs, but this could easily be something in the contract where they can adjust that, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it's three ways, if it's the 5% split 1/66 166 to Dapper, 166 to the PA, 166 to NBA, or whatever it is. Like there's ways that those things can be kind of incentivized one way or another, and maybe Dapper pays it out of pocket instead of through the transaction fees. Like there's creative accounting, right?
Sure.
Accounting is an art, not a science, despite what people tell you. But I agree with you, Andy. And in general, like that incentive to, and you see it with gambling sites and DFS across the board, is like, you put in this, we'll guarantee it. You can't lose money. And it's to keep you there, right? And it's because you have captive money that you then need to spend on the platform and utilize that in any way, shape, or form. And we saw that a little bit, but it's peanuts compared to some of the actual money that people put in early on. So maybe that's the beginning of that. The one thing I'll also mention, I don't know if you guys saw Roham tweet, I think it was, I don't know, like last night, probably right around this time, in terms of like laying out the priorities for what Top Shot and Dapper are focused on. And the first thing he mentioned was economic fixes. Really curious to see what that means. I know he's talking at the office hours on Friday, so maybe we'll hear a little bit more about what that means. I don't think that means like, hey, we're going to artificially deflate the market or inflate the market. I think it's probably going to be more in line and potentially in line with what Andy was suggesting.
I think the other thing, Pete, because I've been now thinking about the DFS analogy a little bit more with what DraftKings and FanDuel did. And I think the big difference there, because like you said, they turned on the marketing hose to the point where literally your mom knew about DraftKings and FanDuel because the commercials were omnipresent. And then they were offering all the overlay. The issue was they were ready for business. They were the brand new casino, doors open, everything's good to come in here, where we keep hearing from Top Shot, we're still in beta. Everyone kicked down the doors and made a mess inside the place before they could finish getting everything figured out. And so I think that's the thing too. Everyone's, do those things, turn on the marketing funnel, and they're saying, hey, we're not ready to do that. And I think that's where a lot of frustration comes from, because that's another one of the bingo talking points is, when are you going to be out of beta? You can't have this many users and still be in beta. And it goes back to our point with the Bales article and expediting all of this stuff. They weren't ready for this influx.
So
totally.
Were those sites like still, even though they were letting people in, weren't there major issues with the sites at times? DraftKings, FanDuel. Yeah, they broke this up, right? Yeah.
Yep. I didn't come back because they were broken as fuck.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for what I to take it to fully flesh out my thought. I don't think Top Shot just like artificially inflate the ecosystem in terms of like, hey, we're going to put money in everyone's pockets they're going to be able to spend. What I would be what I would be investing a ton of capital into that I think would make the platform awesome and really like long-term align everything is just giving away a ton of NBA experiences. Hey, you have a collector rating of this, you get NBA League Pass. Hey, you have this many moments, here's tickets. Like they should be giving out so many things related to the NBA and all these teams and all these players. They should be paying players to meet up. Like, hey, you want to meet Nikola Jokic? Like you're in Denver, here's a Top Shot meetup to go meet all the Nuggets players. Everyone who has 5 Nuggets moments in their account, go do it. They should spend
that's my question from earlier. One, is it too early? And then two, like, do they have that ability yet? Meaning, like, do they have the relationship with the players? Do they have all that stuff? We assume they do, but who knows? And then two, can they even, right? Can they call on, because a lot of they had to pay Tyler Hero and Bogdanovich to promote the site, and they had to, the players got introduced to the site. Okay, so they pay them, right?
They pay them all. They pay them all.
But
that's how that's their overlay. Pay everybody.
Right. So pay everyone to do these meetups.
The money. Open the books.
That's what they raise so much capital.
Would you rather have Dapper balance or tickets? You're shaking your head, Plunge, but like, are you the majority?
Because Dapper balance. But that's not sustainable.
Maybe not.
Like if people give them money, they're going to take it off eventually. I mean, assuming everything goes smoothly.
That's my point.
I am a super good use case here. I didn't give a shit about the NBA until January at all. Like I couldn't care less. And literally the extent of my care for the NBA was I'm in this, like the Plungers, where my name comes from. We have a fantasy league that's like 40 or 50 guys strong at this point. We do like a fantasy decathlon. And we do the NBA playoffs, and you pick 6 players around and you can't reuse them, and you got it's like a fucking 4D chess match. That was the extent of the amount that I cared about the NBA. I can count on one hand the number of times as an adult that I watched an NBA game from tip to tip, like in my adult life. I have watched like half of the playoff games because I care. Like now, part of that is because I don't want to sound like an idiot when I'm talking on streams about.
I haven't let that stop me, Plunge.
I mean, fair enough. Like you can sound like at least enough, but like I care about the players in some way. Because I'm invested in a different way. I'm lucky because I have a relatively large Twitter following now. I got to go to a game because I interacted with Josh Hart. Like he got me tickets to go see the Pelicans when the Kings were playing, and that was like a super cool experience. I'm not a Pelicans fan, but I got a Josh Hart jersey now. And that was kind of cool. Like, and it was because I paid for it. I paid for it out of pocket. Like I put more money into their pockets because I had this experience that like didn't cost Dapper anything. Just interaction and engagement with the community and with the NBA. Like, it's not a wide open fire hose yet in any way, shape, or form. Not just like because Dapper and NBA Top Shot don't have access to it. It's because these arenas just like they're not at full capacity yet. And we'll see that probably in next year that like, hey, you have the capability to do it. These marketing people get paid, however much they get paid at each of these teams. Like every single team should have some way to engage and incentivize their local community who are, engaged with Top Shot in some way, in the same way that they do for the Boys and Girls Club or the Boy Scouts of America troop that gets tickets up in the third loge. Like, there's all sorts of ways that they can do marketing opportunities that the teams are incentivized even to bring in because it puts people in the seats and they spend money on the $12 beers and all of those other things. It's a win-win.
But is it realistic? Like in very simple math, how many people, and what's the level, right? So the top collectors get courtside to a game and then these people get a jersey. And like, if you start to do the math, like, what is the true collector? We've seen those cases. Someone is always getting burned. So, at what point, what collector score deserves tickets to a game? And you're going to say you don't know.
It doesn't matter. It says, hey,
that's not true at all. That's not true.
No, because you can say here's what it is. In the same way that you can say, hey, it costs $50,000 to get a suite for the game. Like whatever the thing is, they can make whatever level they want.
But then it becomes
pay that out of thin air.
Yeah, but then it becomes pay to play, and it's not rewarding the people that have been collecting moments. Like that's my point. It's just always it feels like we're trying to fix it. And then Jennings, it's like, you give access to players, you pay the players. Okay, I collected Denver moments. I live in Denver. I get to see Jokic. I live in Orlando, and now I get to see Wendell Carter. Now people are bitching about that. Like it'll always be something that people don't feel rewarded for, and then it's just going to turn into a math equation for them. If you say, okay, spend $1,000, get free tickets to a game, people are going to be like, well, that 1,000 is going to be worth 700, and I could just buy those tickets to the game. Like I think there's opportunities 100%, but once again, I don't know if just drawing all these different lines of like this group gets this gets this. Like some people care about a LaMelo bath towel, some people don't give a fuck, right? Like that would actually, that pisses people off. So I'm just.
But I think a big part of it though. So there's a difference between direct in-game incentives inside the Top Shot world, inside of the things you get inside of Top Shot. Like, I think there's a good case to be made that you don't want that to be pay to play in any way. But the entire world in all of its time has always kind of been like the more money you have, the more things you get to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think Top Shot can solve that problem. And I don't think that they should try to. And that's just kind of part of it is a lot of these sites and same thing happens with FanDuel, same thing happens with casinos, as Jenny was saying. You don't get to go stay in the penthouse at one of these casinos if you want to drop $200 on roulette.
Trust me, Peter has gotten to sit, I'm sure, some very nice seats at games because of his DraftKings spending. I play a lot on DraftKings. Never gotten an invite to go sit in the box based on the levels I'm playing at.
Agree that's going to be the case, but you bring it all together with all these things, and this is what needs to be prevalent across the whole platform for packs, for everything. You create lottery type incentives. So maybe you only have one moment, but you're one of 10,000 that has a chance at the courtside tickets because you're that person. You can do all these things, and you can also incentivize engagement on the site. And I think the huge win, NBA ratings are way down. Engagement on sports it's like one of the last things we can watch in real time. There's so many things like pulling us for attention. This is one of those things that like there's a ton of synergy with Dapper and these sports leagues by creating more engagement because it's worth so much. Look like Roblox. They're worth $1 bazillion because they have all these kids engagement. Like it's every day engagement's getting worth more and more. And there's something powerful here. So I agree. It's not perfect. I'm not saying fully pay to play. They need to get creative. I love lottery type payouts. Maybe once a year and it's totally random. If you have one Nuggets moment or something like that, you get to meet Jokic. I don't know what the right answer is, but there's creative things they can do. And I think they have a real opportunity to create more engagement with the sports leagues.
I think my takeaway would be they have to get away from the making things right? And now going forward, having these extra bells and whistles that are bonuses, right? To where it's not like, because you did this, you're going to get this because we fucked you over. It's, you like to collect on here? Maybe we'll surprise you with this. Maybe we'll hit you with this, right? And I think that it's just setting the right precedent because we're falling into this trap, which is just like people bitching, they owe me this, they screwed me here. When like we joked about it for 4 months, this is not financial advice. We saw a market a certain way. We saw it differently. We saw all these different things. But at the end of the day, like it was your money and you made a bad decision if you lost, or some people made really good decisions, or you got caught up in FOMO, or you didn't and you sold at the top. Like at the end of the day, right, it's a free, fair market partially. Now, there were situations where they limited selling and, you know, all that shit happened. But once again, they did make it clear to a degree we're in beta. So I think some of the blame has to come off Dapper and people need to take blame for themselves. I mean, I didn't sell at the right time. I've taken $5 off the site, right? I think everyone wishes they sold the top, and we just need to get away from, there's so much negativity around a product that if you guessed where it would have been in December, you'd be fucking pumped where it is. Like NBA players are organically obsessed with this thing at one point. That's pretty cool to me.
I want to bring on another one of our guests tonight. We got my dude Babs from the Deposit Kingdom Discord, one of our VIPs. This is a man about NFT town. He's got the Top Shots. He's got the Man's Coins. He's got the apes. He's got the Zed horses. Babs, what's up,
man? Does he have a bonsai tree?
Hey, guys. Yeah, Andy, I did buy a few trees.
Babs is way more handsome in person than in the Discord.
Oh,
so
bad.
How do I get a bonsai tree? I like legitimately have a bonsai tree tattooed on my back. How do I get one?
I'll sell you one after we chat.
All right.
Babs
I only have like very little ETH, but we'll talk.
No, don't worry. I'll help you out. But
Babs is a good guy. He got me my first horse. Yeah, Babs, welcome. Yeah, and Jack, also, some people in the Discord, the first time I saw Babs, he posted a shirtless pic in the Man's Coin channel. And I never felt so emasculated in my own Discord.
I'd love to see that photo.
Yeah, no, get that up ASAP.
You post it on Twitter. It's out there. You can bring it up if you want.
Babs, where are you? Not to like your full address, just generally in the country.
Oh, I'm in Canada, so Alberta. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, like nice to meet all you guys. Like you're basically celebrities to me, so it's an honor to be on. So I appreciate it, guys.
No, well, you were. I was so happy when you agreed to come on because I was trying to find someone who has also completed the Cool Cats Master Challenge that was in the Discord, and yeah, you seem to be having a blast aping into all of these projects. What are kind of some of your takeaways listening to our conversation about this? Because I know you're involved in a lot of these.
Yeah, you guys are kind of bleak today, I'd say a little bit. So yeah, to be honest, like I think you guys hit on a lot of the main points of, you know, I would say I'm an average, Top Shot customer who kind of came in mid to late January. And, didn't sell at the top either. I'm still holding all my moments for the most part. But, you eventually get to the point where you're a little bit jaded, even though you don't want to be. I think the best thing I ever did was stop checking my account valuation and just kind of, try and have fun with it, right? And I'm back to just trying to have fun with it. You guys make it way more fun. And interacting with the community, like that kind of stuff just makes it more fun. And I was kind of like Plunge. Like I wasn't a huge NBA fan until Top Shot. And now, I'm way more engaged than I would be otherwise, right? So I say that's a win for Dapper when you can engage guys like us in the the actual sport, right?
100% agreed. So I guess the real question on the table though is, did you finish the Cool Cat Master Challenge?
I did actually. Yeah, so I joined mid-January, and I think
Are you in the Discord?
The first non-base pack, so I was kind of an OG of that way. I did see your Discord invite over Twitter, and I chose not to join it.
Wow.
Awkward.
I'll give you the reason, though. I'll give you the reason. The main reason is a lot of the times I hate myself for doing the Cool Cats Master, so I thought, I don't want to join a Discord with 800 guys who I consider to be all probably not the smartest guys in the room.
You're not wrong.
800 idiots all talking to each other. I was like, I can avoid that, right?
You're not wrong.
For the record, I also did not join the Discord. So
You did though. You totally did.
I was asking Andy about this before the show. Someone is catfishing.
Is someone catfishing?
Yeah.
There's
That's not
a person on Discord that is Andy number 8052 on Discord.
Yeah, that's not me.
That's not you? Oh shit.
No. Oh, so that person stole my. Oh, okay. All right. So let me step back for a second here because this is like connecting a lot of dots.
Should we hash this off?
No, I don't think so.
Is this meaningful? Okay.
No, it's just kind of a funny little anecdote. But so I bought Discord Nitro to change my name to Andy #8052, and then it was like it's already taken. And I was like, well, shit. Okay, so my name is Andy8052 #8052.
Jesus, I'm gonna try and find out who this person is. Hold on.
And then Trey Kirby DM'd me the other day on Twitter and was like, "Is this you?" And I was like, "No, it's not me." I assumed it was just like he was in some random Discord and this popped up, and I didn't really think anything else of it. But now when they're impersonating me on that Discord,
I gave him 10 ETH for his fractional seed round.
So anyway, it looks like he's no longer in the Discord anymore because I might have doxed him.
That's a bummer.
Babs, you should join. It's open to all 29, well now 30 out of 30 holders. So open invitation, still open.
I'll join. I do appreciate you taking the time to set that up and make it, a community event. That's the kind of stuff that makes Top Shot fun to me, right? So
make your own utility, right?
Yeah.
That was the most Canadian thing. He's like, there's 800 idiots in there, but I really appreciate you just taking the time to make it there, Plunge. I think that was a little bit of an Irish accent. I'm sorry. I got to
Babs, I have a question. My podcast producer is Canadian. Do they really not have cheesesteaks in Canada at Subway? At Subway? They call it meat and cheese.
I think they call it a Philly steak, Philly cheese steak.
Okay, that would make sense. But we called multiple stores and they didn't have it. So I was just wanting to do a check-in on that. Thank you.
No, I was a frequent at Subway. No.
And Plunge, one other thing I wanted to ask about that Discord, and forgive me if there was a mission statement in a pinned message that I didn't read. But is part of the goal, are you guys trying to do the kind of, they were doing the meme thing earlier, list your reward for 69,420? Is the point to not list it, to list it for an absurd amount of money? Is there a specific rallying cry here?
There is not, for the very distinct reason that it doesn't make any sense. And people started in and they were like, we're going to set the floor. We're going to make it it's going to be no, you're not going to convince 2,000 people to do the same thing. The second that all those people do it, one of them is going to be an asshole. So I think a lot of us were on team, just don't list it. The idea being that hey, if there's no listings out there or very few of them, then the ones that are trying to get rid of it, they go into stronger hands. And then there's just not a very, very large number of them. And I'm not looking to sell it anyway, at least in the short term. But then it was basically, hey, if you really feel the obligation to list it, maybe do 29.29, right? So you had 29 out of 29 to get or 30 for 30 or 420.69 or 69.420, whatever. If you feel super obligated to list it, and you're really not looking to sell it for a loss, then fuck it, right? And Chugs is one of the other guys that's it's big in the thing, and his rallying cry is cherish the dirt, right? If you don't want your shit to be not valuable, then value it. And don't sell it for peanuts just because the low ask is what it is. And I know that some people can't get over that and can't recognize that just because it's low value of this doesn't mean that you have to sell it for that. To your point earlier, Pete, about it's okay for shit to sit on the shelf and for you to kind of enjoy it. And hey, I spent 4 months fucking trying to figure out how to get this. You don't have to sit immediately list it at the low ask and try and get rid of it. if you're doing that and you spent a lot of money to acquire it, like what are you doing? It's just like a bad financial decision in general. Again, not financial advice, but so I wouldn't say that there's like a specific rallying cry because we early on felt like there's no way that we're going to get everybody on the same page, so it's not worth trying. But I think a lot of us are on the like team no list bandwagon.
Is Babs a hockey fan?
I am a hockey fan, not like
Leafs?
football. No,
Leafs?
not Leafs, not Leafs.
Thank God.
So I'm in Calgary, so I'm a Flames fan.
Okay. Would NHL Top Shot be of interest to you?
To be honest, I would rank it NFL, MLB, and then hockey for me.
Oh, wow. Who's your NFL squad?
San Fran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was really pumped. Trey Lance was a big deal for me. So
I think we're one Jack question away from him asking Babs if he likes maple syrup.
Do you guys live in igloos up there? Or?
No. Do you speak French, though? Do you speak any French?
Do you know Mike from Montreal? He works at McDonald's.
Yeah, how many people live in Canada? Like 60 million?
Yeah, but I feel like a lot speak French. I took French. I like your backdrop, though. I like your background. It looks nice. I might
let's get a full home tour. Why don't you pop that?
I might want to come through. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah,
I have
nice.
3 young kids, and my wife's going to kill me if I give the whole tour. But I can.
Wow.
Nice little raised home office situation.
All the toys and
So many toys.
Hey,
Jennings will like that. I have 2 young twins, so I got a couple of high chairs there.
there you go.
Nice.
Babs, how you liking that universal health care up there, eh? Pretty nice.
Seriously, it sounds great. It sounds great.
I would love to have healthcare right now. That'd be sick.
So Babs, talk to us about the other stuff you're in, because one of the cool things that I think I caught wind of this, but you guys went in on a Zed horse within the Deposit Kingdom Zed channel. I don't hang out in that channel a lot, but I'm told it's a fun place.
It is fun. It's pretty active nowadays. And we kind of stole Andy's idea. So just for fun, fractionally, we 7 ways invested into a horse. And, it's just a good way to kind of interact and keep on top of it and sharing the fun kind of thing. So
there you go. And shout out the name of the horse.
It's Big Cabbage. So it's got a good name too. And we all have fun with it. But yeah, like honestly, if it wasn't for, Top Shot and specifically Club Top Shot, it's an easy transition into other NFTs. So like that's kind of what got me into the other stuff, right? So watching you guys race Zed horses, and I've kind of gotten into a little bit of obviously I bought trees today. I have a Bored Ape, so it's kind of a nice transition. Like if it wasn't for Top Shot, I would have never learned about any of this other stuff, right? So it's interesting that way. And like you guys, appreciate, opening my eyes to that stuff.
How's the horse you doing? Good racer? Yeah.
He's you can look him up. Yeah. He's a pretty good horse. So he's doing good.
Nice.
It's fun.
So, all right,
you mentioned 1/7. I have 1/20 of 6 horses. So
Whoa.
There you go.
I mean,
I got a hoof.
Isn't it better to ask Babs questions about him and Canada than Mike, who would just be like, all right, let's pull up his account value real quick. Let's make sure.
If
I was going to
Meeble
make a joke about
267
that.
isn't here,
Yeah. I was going to make a joke that I was happy Mike wasn't here, so he can't call me out as a rent seeker. But,
What were you going to say, Plunge?
I was going to say, if Meeble 267 isn't here, we shouldn't talk about it.
What do you guys think? Do you think I'm Plunge? What is your deal with your Lamelo? Because I was going to open mine up tonight.
I opened it. I got like 23,000 range or something. I think the 1, 6, 7, and 8 still aren't open. So the number 1 still is out there.
Dude, how lit would it be?
I can't wait to open it.
Should we?
It's actually a cool little pack. Like it's a cool color, but
what do you guys think? Should we?
Real quick, just a question.
Yeah.
What was the logic for them doing it like that? I thought it was cool, but was there any reason? Yeah. Just like a different
I think
one.
they did it with the Steph
Gotcha.
as a starting point, but I think it's just like way cooler to like actually sit down and open a pack. I've
100%.
said multiple times, like the pack opening experience is probably the best thing about Top Shot as like an entertainment value thing. So the more that they can replicate that and bring joy and whimsy, the better. So those things are fun. And the other thing too is like if you can trade packs in theory, you can trade unopened challenge rewards. And if you can trade unopened challenge rewards, let's say for sake of argument that there's 2,900 people or so that have 2,950 or something like that have finished Lamelo. Let's say that the number one's just hidden, and 90% of people open it, and there's only 300 packs left, and one of those 300 has the number one in it.
That's great.
What's the cost of that pack versus the cost of the opened Lamelos? I think there's some it's a cool gameplay opportunity within.
No, I love that. Great call.
With that said, I'm ready to destroy my EV and open this pack now, guys. Let's open some packs.
Let's do it.
Yo, what up? It's DJ Pete OverzOnly. Welcome to the club. We didn't think things were going to get popping tonight, but it's about to get lit. Behind door number 2, it's a 3-pointer. 13-25, Kevin Durant.
Let's go.
We're going to get a LaMelo. We're going to get a Luka. We're going to get a LeBron. Victory reveal. Let's go. God damn it. I don't need another layup. To the window. To the wall. The De'Aaron Fox stripped down my ball. 293 assists. Let's go. 293. Everybody get their drinks. Let's get a cheers tonight before we open up these nice packs. Cheers to Babs. Cheers to our guest PlungeFather. Thanks for joining us tonight, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
Babs, are you going to be? Did you already open your Lamelo?
Mine's sealed still. Yeah, I'll open it.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to walk you through a little screen share here?
My honor. I feel like if Ja Rule can do it, I hope I can. So.
Yeah, I know from Ja Rule's experience, it does help if you roll a fatty blunt before doing the screen share.
That'll make your wife happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I click the share screen button and then
share
just
audio.
The audio. Has anyone gotten wind of our music here for this?
Yes, they should have new music.
Plunge, how was the music?
I got to be completely honest. I opened it on my phone when I was on a phone call, so I didn't.
Wow, you're
It's the best part. It's the best part.
Like
and then
you love opening. You did it on the phone.
Yeah, Andy's the sicko that does all the moments at once.
I was on the phone. I needed to justify.
Andy was, Andy was opening fucking cosmic packs. Reveal all. Oh,
Babs,
cool.
Babs,
LeBron.
I wish I was on the site.
Yeah, he
You
was.
did it, Rob. You got to do Chrome tab.
Understand.
I wasn't even here
the
for
issue.
hollows.
You weren't even here for
Bottom
hollows. Wow.
how do I do that?
Just stop being poor. Just buy all the hollows, man.
So you do share screen, and then you have to select the Chrome tab option, and then there's a share audio button within the Chrome tab option.
Gotcha.
So I can't get mad at you.
They don't have Chrome in Canada.
It's surprisingly difficult to figure out the first time around, and I still
it
miss
is. So we're good now.
You are good.
Okay, click it.
Come on, Babs.
Let's go,
Babs. Wait, real quick.
Top left.
Has number 1 or 2 been pulled? Do we know?
2 has been pulled. 1 has not. 6 has not. 8 has not. 9
What are
has
6
not.
and 8? Oh, just high numbers.
Your
Just
sound
like
is off.
single
Yeah,
digits.
Babs, top left. Yeah.
Oh, whew.
Sorry, yes.
There we go.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Hey, I apologize for that. It was just a mistake. Let's go, Babs.
Come on, Babs. Big number.
Let's do this music. Wait, Babs. Let it.
Yo, Skirbo. We got one.
Turbo.
Yo,
First choice, I'm I ain't got a flex every time I win. Tell this talk when they bum out. In the same school, I'm alumni. In the spring for the team, we run out. They ain't need to see the bean, got the drums out. Toes and stones, I don't have to know. But the truest words are without thought. So, every toe, money
I ain't got top hat.
Game, that's a different feeling. Call it penicillin. I don't give attention, not enough to mention. I can do dimensions. This is demolition. This is repetition. This is
That was actually my first time ever watching the highlight.
You can see when he rap, boy, he that nigga.
He said he was talking in French. Did you understand that, Babs? He said parlez-vous. You caught that?
What's that mean?
He doesn't speak French, bro. I'm from Montreal or Quebec.
So it wasn't number 1, so we don't need to call ding-a-ling today, I guess.
No call to dingling.
Yeah,
Nice pull, though.
How much do you think Ding-a-ling would pay for the number 1 Lamelo here?
Does he have all the rest of them? I think he has all the rest of them. We're pretty close to all of them.
Yeah, great song there, by the way. That would be cool, Johnny Brady, if Lonzo had come up with the rap for the Lamelo moment.
Ooh,
That would
there
be
you
cool.
go.
So are you guys buying into the Lamelo NFT later this week? Talk about discords that are on fire. I don't know if any of you hopped into the Lamelo Ball Discord, but
I did not.
What's that about?
What's going on in there?
It's a dumpster fire. Lamelo went in the other day and was like actually answering questions, and I had to tell the mods, I was like, bro, turn on slow mode. You're getting you need to figure this out. I was like guiding them how to run a Discord in real time.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire. So
wow.
Do you think it was actually him?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was all one word answers, so it was definitely not someone impersonating.
It was too low effort for that.
It was basically like him giving away La French socks and hoodies to anybody that asked a good question. I don't even know what La French is, but apparently
it's the French dialect in Calgary.
No, I'm pretty sure that's his brand. He has a clothes.
We're not letting Jack do any more of his French stand-up material tonight.
Can we boot Jack? Honestly,
Jack. Yeah, have you ever
Isn't it Lemesius Ball?
Get out of here! Get out of here! Andy, you want to open up yours here?
If Andy pulls the one, I'm going to Williamsburg and beating him up right now.
No, Andy deserves it.
Yeah.
He's lost $4 million, Jack.
Oh shit! I didn't press share audio. Don't accept that.
Andy.
Wow, that's terrible.
I just got a little overzealous.
Hey,
you know?
Pete, can you tell me?
Yeah, why is Jennings so far from the screen?
What are you doing right now? You're leading. Are you tired from your own standing desk?
Guys, my back's a little sore.
It's just
too busy carrying the stream.
It's in the back. It feels good. Sit down, Pete. Sit down.
All right, I think I'm ready to go.
You have a couch behind you. My endurance is dropping.
All right, Andy, we did it.
All right.
Yo,
cool cat.
It's always better the second
we got
time.
one.
Yo, join the Discord,
Hello.
cool cat.
First thing first, I'm 11, 9, 10. I ain't gotta flex every time I win. Tell them let's talk when they bum my. In the same new school, I'm alumni. In the spring for the team when we run out.
I'll take
they
it.
ain't even see the bean, got
It's
the
no
drums
number
out.
one.
10 toes,
That's
my
all right.
stone got on hush mouth. Got a lot to say, but I don't. But the truest words are without thought. So truth be told, we don't. Money fold, make it touch the ceiling. Pin game, that's the.
Two things. One, was that above the cylinder? I feel like that might have been a goaltend. Number two, I saw someone bitching that they wanted the Lamelo lob pass when he came back. Was anyone upset that was the actual Master Challenge moment? I thought that was easily the pick for it.
I like the bowling ball assist.
That's what people wanted. Yeah.
Well, my thought is this. I like moments as an NBA thought leader that are like a microcosm or reflective of the player's style and who they are. I feel like when I think of LaMelo, I think of these sick full court assists, crazy vision. I don't think of put back dunks. And so that would have been my only thing of why I would have liked the assist. But I think it's a cool moment.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's a goaltend, but it's cool.
That's what I thought. It's above the cylinder. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to dock it. There's an asterisk next to that moment for offensive goaltending. Do we want to?
Don't you have yours?
I do have mine. I'm just trying to feel out. Are we in a walk-off LaMelo moment here, or how are we feeling?
Agreed.
I think we're gonna walk this off, guys. So I do just want to again say thank you, PlungeFather. Tell us about your streams. When do the plunge in go live? Because you got those regular now, right?
I mean, literally, our user base is again a perfect circle. So I assume that they know. If they don't, we go live on Thursdays. Twitch.tv/PlungeFather. Babs, join the Discord. It's pinned in my profile. PlungeFather on Twitter. So if anybody.
So are there two LaMelo Cool Cat Discords going right now? You have yours, Plunge, and then there's the new one? Or
that Top Shot's going to be making theirs.
That's what I'm saying. There's going to be a second one. Oh, it's within there. Okay.
I think I assume there will be a channel similar to how there's a content creator channel and I don't know, whatever they'll say, like a courtside chat or something like that. I'm sure they'll have something.
Gotcha.
And I'm pretty sure that they're working with, I forget the name of the company, but it is a third-party company that's going to use like token gating to generate access there. So
before we walk it off, can anyone just give me some insight on if we're ever seeing the Genesis or Platinum Ohms?
Yeah, we will. It's all going to be auctioned.
And I do want, as we say goodbye to Babs here, I just have to ask.
Devin Booker has 12 points in the first quarter.
That over is looking nice. Shout out Underdog Fantasy, our presenting sponsor. But Babs, I do have a question for you.
13 points.
Of course.
Have you ever seen one of those Canadian Mounties on a horse?
Have you ever seen one of those big ass moose eye, like in the middle of the highway?
Yeah, all the time.
This shit's
Jack,
crazy.
you should come visit sometime.
I've been up to Canada a couple times, but I could swing Calgary. A little Alaska, Calgary, Seattle trip. All right.
Babs, anything else though that you would like to plug here? We appreciate you hopping on the show tonight.
Not plugging anything. Just want to say thanks again for having me. It was a blast. Kind of a dream come true. So thanks, guys.
There you guys go.
Thanks for joining us, Babs.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, and Pete, Andy, any final words here before we do this walk off?
Personal accountability.
Retweet.
Smash
Own
that
your
retweet.
choices, children.
Pete, do that tweet. I'm sure that'll get like 100 retweets and 2,000 likes. That's right up your alley.
Make sure to do the GIF of the guy that's just like moonshine minting or whatever, and just be like,
God, dude, we gotta bring back the freaking DeFi freaking GIF. It's been a little bit. We're waiting.
Andy, any final words?
I don't know how I could possibly follow that up.
Yes, we will continue to be here, guys. We are
Final words for Jack.
I thought you've had so many words. Say them. So what do you want?
The apes, the trees, the Knicks, though. Game 5 tomorrow night. Go Knicks. Go Knicks. Go Knicks.
Over 3, bro.
Go
Yeah.
Knicks.
If the Knicks were an ETH floor of an NFT project, it would be 0.004 right now, Jack.
All right, walk it off.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, all that jazz. If you want to get in the club like Babs, you can become a VIP member. We have a very fun club VIP Discord in there. We got the audio version if you guys prefer to listen to that back. Again, shout out to Underdog Fantasy for making all of our dreams come true. You can use promo code Pete, or if you're an asshole, you can use promo code Jack when you sign up. But we are going to do this. I'm going to pull the number one. Hang on real quick. If I pull the number one, is it still a walk-off or do we celebrate?
No,
we celebrate for sure.
Okay.
I feel like the best cereal you've ever pulled was like 2047.
Oh, I have awful cereal luck, but I try not to get toxic.
Number one would be amazing.
Yo, Scarbo.
Yo, escargot for Babs.
Escargot.
First thing first, I'm 11, 19. I ain't got to flex every time I win.
23,
when they bum out. In the same school, I'm alumni. In the spring,
We love you guys.
run out.
We will see you next time.
10 toes, no stone, gonna hush mouth.